YouTube, it's motomattman. Today is Monday and it's President's Day, and as you can tell, it's another day in the glorious snow globe of Northeast Ohio. Not a whole lot of snow out, mainly because last week we had a few days of warm-up along with rain. So it melted most of the snow, but started snowing last night, and in the overnight hours it changed over to sleet, freezing rain, and now it's back to snow. Not much snow, just flurries, just enough to make everything white and wet and cold. And the road's a little bit on the hazardous side because there's some ice patches, and they do a pretty good job, obviously, of getting everything clear and keeping them clean, but you just can't keep them from freezing back up. I did get out on the bike the one day last week for just a little bit before it started raining again, and shot a video. Unfortunately, I was trying out a new mic, and the mic adapter that I was using apparently wasn't any good. I didn't capture any audio, and then I fiddled around with it some more, and it was definitely the mic adapter that I had an issue with, because I used a different mic adapter and everything worked out just fine, but not on the bike. You know, I was just walking around the house like a goofball with my helmet on, testing it out. But anyway, what I was vlogging about on the bike, I can touch on a little bit here in the truck just as well, and I hope to go a little bit more in depth in this topic over the summer, and do a dual vlog with Mrs. Motomattman about it. I want to point out something. I don't know if you can see, but the fire hydrants in this area have reflective poles on the top of them, because of the amount of snow that we normally get. That way they can find where the fire hydrants are if there's a fire, because they typically end up getting buried in the snow. But anyway, the topic that I want to talk about is something that other motovloggers have talked about. It's been a little bit controversial. Some other bigger YouTubers have touched on it, men have touched on it, and some women motorcycle riders have given them some backlash, and I think a lot of it has to do with their approach to it. And what that topic is why there aren't more women motorcycle riders. Now, I will say this, the numbers have increased dramatically over the last 20-30 years in the number of women that ride. When I first started riding on the street, there were very few. To be honest with you, I can think of one that I knew of that rode, and she didn't ride all the time. She didn't even have her own bike. She would borrow somebody else's bike, or both of her parents had their endorsements. She would borrow one of their bikes. They both had big BMWs. But my opinion about why there aren't more women that ride, I'll be honest with you, a lot of the blame, I think, falls squarely at the feet of us guys that ride. And I say that because I don't know that we do enough to encourage women to get out on two wheels and ride, or promote motorcycling and the sport, the hobby, the lifestyle, what have you, promote it to women. And I think we at times are guilty of giving our opinions to not just women riders, but all new riders or people that are interested in the sport. Give our opinions that are when they're unsolicited. One of the things is anybody that's new to it, if they ask questions, answer their questions to the best of your ability, or direct them to where they can get the answers to their questions. But I think some of the time we're too quick to jump in and give advice, and it can come across as trying to tell somebody what to do. You know, I think the same thing is true when people ask for advice on what bike to start out on. I think we have a tendency to look more towards our own bike and steer people in the direction of either what we ride or something that's similar to what we ride. In other words, if you ride sport bikes all the time, you're trying to get somebody to go get a Ninja 400 or an H3 or a CBR 500 or something to that, along those lines. If you ride a Harley, an Indian, or some other kind of cruiser, you're trying to steer people in that direction. And I don't think anybody means any harm by it. I think it's just a natural thing. Oh, this is what we ride, so this is what's on our brain. This is what we're thinking about. You know, if you ride a Harley, anybody that starts out, you know, you tell them to go to the Harley dealer and check out the 883. The Sportster 883 is the perfect bike to start riding on. Well, not if the woman's interested in riding a sport bike, or not if she's interested in riding a supermoto. And the same thing holds true for steering somebody towards the smaller sport bike when what they want is a cruiser. You know, there are times that, you know, because I have multiple bikes, I keep trying to get my wife to test ride on a sport bike. Hey, you need another bike. Well, she doesn't have a whole lot of interest in that. You know, and we need to listen to what they're saying they're interested in and steer them in that direction, whether it's what we ride or not. You know, the point is get them out there on two wheels, get them to enjoy the sport. The other thing is I think a lot of times we become really comfortable with having our wife or our girlfriend ride on the back of our bike. Now, that's cool, and I like that too. But I'll tell you what, if you ever get your wife or your girlfriend out on their own bike, man, that's a blast. I mean, that's even better most of the time. I'm telling you. The other thing is I'm sure all of you guys out there that have a wife that doesn't ride have at one time or another had that conversation about, do you really need that? You don't need that bike. You don't need another bike. You don't need a new jacket. You don't need a new helmet. Why do you want to spend all that time on that stupid bike? Well, I'll tell you what, this comes from personal experience. Get them out on their own bike and they will understand. All of a sudden, you'll start hearing them make those comments that we see on posters and t-shirts and whatnot. They'll start showing you the pictures, like the dog with their head stuck out the window, and that says, you know, only a motorcyclist or only a biker would understand. They'll get it. They'll understand it. And then they'll want to be out there riding. I mean, Mrs. Motomattman complains all the time now about the weather. And it's not just about it being cold or being snowy. It's the fact that it's cold and snowy and she can't get out on her bike. You know, things change when you get them on two wheels. And I'm telling you, any fears you might have, put them aside. Especially the fears about, you know, oh, they're going to take off with their friends and go riding and leave me behind. Trust me, it's a good thing when you get them on two wheels. And we need to promote it. You know, any of you that have seen Mrs. Motomattman's channel that she just started, her videos start just like mine with a slideshow at the beginning. And 3 of the slides are a My Little Pony character rarity that is a unicorn. Well, the reason why she put that on there is because for years and years and years, us male bikers have referred to female bikers as being a unicorn because of how rare they are. You know, even going as far as, you know, that a female biker is that mythical creature. You know, do they really exist? Well, I think it would be really cool if we got to the point where female bikers were so commonplace that the whole unicorn thing went away. And there are women that you can point to that ride. Women that you could, I guess, call celebrity, TV personalities or whatever. The biggest one that comes to my mind is Christy Lee, that is one of the hosts of All Girl Garage on Motor Trend television, and she also is one of the hosts of the Barrett Jackson car auctions on TV as well. She's a motorcyclist, and she was a motorcyclist before all the TV stuff. She has a deal with Kawasaki, and she rides all over the country. I mean, if you follow her on Facebook or Instagram, it's a great follow. I mean, she reviews bikes and details her trips. This time of year, she makes multiple trips through the southeast, specifically Florida. You know, and she'll go along the Gulf, ride along the Gulf Coast through Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana and whatnot. And she's, just to see her, she's not what a lot of us have pictured in our mind from back in the day as to what a female biker looks like. Female bikers look like everybody. There's not this stereotype, there shouldn't be this stereotype of a female biker looking like she should be riding her bike next to the stereotypical male biker that people that don't ride have. The big guy with the long hair and a long beard, that's dirty, looks like he hadn't taken a shower in a while, is wearing colors and whatnot, you know, with skull rings on each finger. That's not the typical biker. There's nothing wrong with that biker, but that's not the typical biker. And the female biker that be riding with him is not what the typical female biker looks like either. They come from all walks of life, all socio-economic economic backgrounds, all ages, all sizes and shapes and colors. You know, and we need to promote that that's the case. Now, I also think that the manufacturers of motorcycle gear need to do a better job of creating gear for women. They've caught up a little bit, but I'll be perfectly honest, a lot of the female biker gear is just scaled down versions of the male motorcycle gear. It's got the same cut and whatnot. It's not tapered for a woman. The other thing is the gear that is made for women, and I touched on this a little bit with my Warlock, my Viking Cycles Warlock jacket review. A lot of the women's gear that's made by folks like Alpine Stars and Icon, which makes some awesome stuff for women. Trust me. I mean, Icon makes stuff with leopard print and all kinds of stuff. But the thing is it doesn't always have to be pink or purple or have leopard or zebra print on it for a woman. Some women want the skull stuff like the guys have on their gear. But anyway, the big thing is as male motorcycle riders, we need to do a better job of encouraging women. Not just our wives and girlfriends, our daughters, but just women in general. Anybody that asks you questions, talk to them. Answer their questions. Don't push opinions on them on what they should or shouldn't do. You know, a lot of times I've heard guys saying to women that are talking about learning how to ride, oh, you have to go take the MSF course. You have to do that because that's the way you're going to learn to ride. You need to do it that way. But then, which is good advice, to take the MSF course. I mean, I'm not knocking the MSF course. But that same guy will talk to another guy and tell him, oh, what you need to do is you need to go get a dirt bike or a dual-purpose bike, and you need to take it out in the yard, you need to ride it around in the yard, and then you need to ride it up and down the street, and then you need to get your temps, and you need to ride around on your temps, and then go take your test. Oh, you don't need to waste some money on an MSF course. You're not really going to teach you anything anyway. And that's wrong. If you're going to tell one group of beginners to take the MSF course, tell the other group, tell everybody. You know, there's nothing that is inherent in a man that makes him a better motorcycle rider than a woman. And I would argue that there are an awful lot of women riders I've come across out there that are a whole lot better than a lot of the men that I know. Now, I'll be honest, Mrs. Motomattman took to the motorcycle a whole lot quicker than some of the guys, a lot of the guys that I've been around when they were just learning how to ride. So, anyway, like I said, we need to encourage everybody, men and women, boys and girls, to get out there and ride. I mean, I need to do more. I mean, I encouraged my wife to get out on a bike, and both my daughters have dirt bikes. My 5-year-old has a PW50, and my 9-year-old has a CRF 80. But I still think there's more that I could do. Anyway, we get off my soapbox here. I'd like some feedback, because like I said, this is something I'd like to do with a dual vlog with Mrs. Motomattman when the weather breaks, to get her side of the story as well. But I'd like to hear from as many men and women and riders out there as I can. Let me hear your feedback, what you think, what your experiences have been. Any ideas on maybe what we could do more to try to get more women involved in this great motorcycling community, in this biker lifestyle and whatnot. But let me have some feedback. Like I said, this is just my opinion. I don't really want to ruffle anybody's feathers with it, but if I do, you know, I'm sorry. Let me know what you think. And as always, if you can get out there on two wheels, make sure you keep the shiny side up, the rubber side down. Have a great day. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and make sure you punch that bell so you can get notifications whenever I upload new content. And have a great day.